Guys, what's happening, man? Listen. It's good to see you guys. I can't see you, but you can see me, and hopefully you're happy to see me because it's been a minute. I feel like it's been way too long since I did one of these, and it has been way too long. And this right here, for those of you all that don't know, this is Berean Talk, and welcome to the Berean Talk Studios, aka Areopagus, which is what we're now dubbing it. When I say we, that's just me. That's what I'm calling it. And if you don't know what Areopagus is, where it is, or the significance biblically or even historically, look it up and then get back to me because, oh, it's so cold. But what's that got to do with the video? I'm sure you saw the thumbnail and the title, The Story of Gideon, and then saw a black dog and thought, what does that have to do with anything that this dude's about to say? Because usually he has something mildly decent to say. And I do. At least I hope I do. We'll see. But this story that I have to tell you guys will explain the absence. It'll also be an encouragement and maybe even a challenge to some of you guys. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we need to talk. Ooh, I haven't said that in so long.
All power to the people! 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 No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the revolution!
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you...
All right, folks, what's going on, man? It's good to see you guys once again. I'm sure you guys have noticed some changes. You noticed a different bit of some scenery changes. I can't talk. I'm sorry. Scenery changes. We've had those going on. We also have some facial changes. You know what I'm saying? I am officially a card-carrying member of the Beard Gang, and I've been inducted now for about 4 to 6 months, and it's nice. It's nice. It's nice to be a part. The members have been extremely welcoming, and there's been a lot of love on the internet from a lot of people from all over the world. You know what I'm saying? And it's beautiful. And I'm glad to be a part, and it's an honor and a pleasure. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to talk about my luxurious new facial hair. We're here to talk about a story I want to tell you guys. The story of Gideon. And for those of you all that don't know, Gideon in this context is not the Gideon of the Bible. We're actually talking about my dog. Yeah, that's what we're doing today. But I promise you it's worth it. So let's take you back 5 years ago, before we were out here in these pandemic streets. And we're going to address that later, because don't think I have nothing to say about... Come on now. All right. So take you back 5 years ago. So my 16th birthday is coming up. And for the longest time, I've always wanted a dog. So my parents decide that, I can get a dog. And this dog was going to be a livestock guardian. This dog had to protect our property and the home and the family. And had to also fit our life at the time. I was very active. I was always doing some sort of physical outdoor activities or something. So I needed somebody that could hang. You know what I'm saying? And I learned about this breed called a Cane Corso. Some of you guys have heard of it. It's been gaining popularity in recent years. But about 5 years ago, and even prior to that, a whole lot of people didn't really know about him until you started seeing rappers and athletes and different people with them. But let me tell you something about Cane Corsos. They're huge, and they are not for the weak. I don't care how many Caesar Milan videos you've watched on YouTube. This dog is not for you. And I remember when we were actually picking out the dog, or when we were finding a breeder to even get a dog from, I remember the owner of the kennel, she was explaining to us that this breed of dog, the Cane Corso, is not for first-time dog owners. And the reason why is because they are, shall we say, highly gifted and highly talented, which means they can't just be entrusted to anyone, because they are like weapons of mass destruction. But they can be amazing and beautiful if they are trained correctly and taken care of correctly, given the proper diet and so on and so forth. So initially, we weren't even gonna get him. But then the breeder said, if your parents, because I was 16 at the time, if your parents have experience with owning what's considered a dominant breed, then maybe we can start talking about you getting the dog, because if they're helping you with the training, then, you know, of course, maybe it will work out. I was in luck because my parents used to own dominant dog breeds. My mother used to have Japanese Akitas. You know anything about those? They're nothing to play with. My father, Rottweilers, Huskies. So I was straight. Or so I thought. Because as it turned out, I was supposed to be the main one taking care of Gideon, and I was also the only one that did all of his training. So fast forward, we get Gideon. He's the most beautiful, cutest dog you've ever seen. And the weirdest part about it, and I knew this, and this is a thing that Cane Corso owners will always tell you, they're extremely intelligent, which means it's cool at first because they pick up on things extremely quickly. I could literally teach Gideon a trick or a command in an afternoon. It did not take that long. He was extremely quick with just picking up on almost anything. But then when you get a smart dog, just as easily as they can use their powers for good, they also choose not to use them for good. And so Gideon would constantly, one of the biggest things about intelligent dogs is that they don't listen to you, because they know how to weigh pros and cons. If I see that piece of food on the floor, you're telling me not to eat it, but it looks delicious, I'm gonna pick delicious over you. That's how dogs think. I can't blame them. I do that sometimes. That's another conversation though. But check this out. I was training Gideon, and every now and then he would show me little pieces of his character where it showed me his discipline wasn't all the way there. He knew a lot, but his discipline wasn't there. Put a pin in that, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about that later. But because he was little and cute and so highly gifted and talented, I ignored it. I ignored some of the signs. And the fact that he used to stick by me so much. So I figured, what's the worst that could happen? Another thing that's interesting about these dogs is their physique. It's obvious that these dogs are weapons of mass destruction. They have the bite force of a T-Rex, and they're like 97% muscle. And the rest of that is divided between skin and brain power. It's insane. They're huge dogs that they know how to get things done. And so one of the other things I began to teach my dog was how to bite on command. Here's an interesting thing. I did not know this. Apparently, that if you want your dog to learn how to bite on command as a protective deterrent, so to speak, or protective command, you're actually not supposed to teach them not to bite when they're puppies. I didn't know that. Because apparently what it does is it squelches a natural instinct instead of trying to cultivate and discipline their natural gifts and talents. Put a pin in that, ladies and gentlemen. And so, fast forward a couple of years, Gideon was getting older. And so now his testosterone was kicking in. He was getting more, his protective instinct and aggression was coming in. And just kind of like dudes with sports cars, I thought it was cool. His growl would shake your chest, and I never had anything stolen from me while I had Gideon. Let's just put it that way. I've never had anything go missing outside of me misplacing something. So that was great. But again, his discipline was not all the way there, because I spent time every day with him. We played together. I fed him an amazing diet. We had another dog that he had dog to dog contact, so to speak. So he was living the dream. He was doing great, but I wasn't honing in those skills and abilities that he naturally had that, if not honed in properly, could be potentially dangerous for himself or for somebody else. So now we fast forward to summer of 2020. I'm a newlywed. I'm getting my life together. My wife and I are finding a place to move to that's going to allow us to have a 150-pound chupacabra with us. It's an extremely difficult situation. We are looking at some places, and some of them are just out of our price range and different things. And while we were looking for a place to live, I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the story, but this is important. We never really had a proper fence for Gideon. We had an electric fence, which worked. It worked. But the problem is, when the fence is off, when the battery is short or just goes off or dies, the fence doesn't work. And when you have a smart dog that is able to figure out when the fence doesn't work, he will get out and find something to do outside of where he's supposed to be. And so he did one day. Animal control picked him up, and it actually wasn't the first time. The first time they actually brought him back home. The second time is what I'm referring to, is when he got taken to the shelter, because not only did they run off and they were considered what's called animals at large, they also killed somebody's cat. My dog and the other dog that we had, they killed somebody's cat. I had to give Gideon up to the shelter, lost the dog. And now what does that have to do with you? Right? What kind of sense does that make? I want to address a couple of things, ladies and gentlemen. I've been seeing this thing kind of going around of people talking about God's plan for their lives. Almost like God's plan for your life is kind of like once saved, always saved. Like once he has the plan for you, it's going to happen regardless of your obedience or participation. Or, there's nothing that you can do that'll mess up God's plan. Am I saying that there is not grace? No, that's not what I'm saying. Am I saying that we don't have redemption and that we don't get mercy and second and third and fourth and fifth chances? Of course, I'm not saying that we don't get those. But here's what I'm saying. There is a degree of responsibility that we have in order to see things come to fruition. And that also means when bad things happen, we can't just always say it was God's plan. Why do I say that? Gideon, that was my first dog, and I raised him. Now, is he my child? Am I going to say he was my fur baby? No, because that's weird. Stop doing that, America. That's concerning. He wasn't my child, but that was my dog. You feel me? And it was hard. It was a hard decision to make because, number one, I understood that it was partly my fault. I could easily say at the end of the day that, maybe just, God allows us to take wins and losses. Not some of these L's that we take out here in these streets. That's you, partner. I'm going to keep it 2 Virgils with you. It might be you. But then on the flip side of that, you know, sometimes, yes, God's plan does require us to go through tribulations and different things. But if I didn't recognize that me not honing in Gideon's gifts and talents, his innate ability to do some incredible things, put him in a position to get himself hurt, because he could have ran out and got hit by a car, and he actually has hurt himself before getting out, and that's a whole nother situation. But not only that, he went out and brought death to somebody else's pet. Now, granted, these are animals, but this is a real life parallel that I'm drawing here that I think also has biblical backing to it as well. If you want biblical examples of what I'm talking about, let's take a look at some real solid biblical examples. Let's look at King Saul. It says in the scriptures that King Saul's lineage, and I'll put the scripture down below, but it says that the prophet Samuel told Saul that God actually wanted to establish his lineage as a kingship forever in the nation of Israel, but he messed it up with his disobedience. You can mess stuff up. Ananias and Sapphira, Ananias and Sapphira, don't listen. I don't remember everything straight. Ananias and Sapphira weren't supposed to drop dead, but they lied deliberately about their offering. So what does that have to do with me? Why have I been gone for so long? Well, let me tell you guys something. Number one, this past summer has been extremely difficult. I've been grappling with becoming a husband. You know, I'm new to these whole spousal streets. So all of this I'm figuring out. On top of that, I just got a new job, so finally I'm gonna have time to just start doing this more consistently. And then lastly, but also kind of importantly too, I was struggling a lot with my mental health. And along with that came me having to grapple with and really having to confront my procrastination, my, just thinking that because I have an innate ability to just speak. I know I'm a natural orator. That doesn't mean that you don't have to put work in. And so that's where I draw the parallel with the story of Gideon. And a lot of you that are highly gifted individuals, you know when you don't give 100%. And when you don't, because I believe that when you are highly gifted, it comes with great responsibility. With great power comes with great responsibility. Shout out Uncle Ben, who actually got that from "To whom much is given, much is required." And that came from, who said that? Who said that? Was that I think it was Jesus. Yeah. Somebody in the Bible. It's scripture. Jesus is the word. So technically he did say that. Fact check me if you want to. But why do I mention that? With great power comes great responsibility. To whom much is given, much is required. That means if you are a highly gifted individual, you have an obligation to share that with the people or with your circle that has been given to you, right? And so for a while, I'm not going to lie. Part of me felt inadequate to even do the show. Part of me felt like it didn't matter. And the other part was, well, y'all should just like me because I'm good at talking. Like, what? And I got a lot of ego checks as well, which is also why I kept quiet during the summer, because you don't want to talk when you eating humble pie because your mouth is full. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Pastor Jim Staley, because I'm about to share something with you guys, and this will kind of close out the episode. This gentleman dropped something on me that was so cold, and this was years ago, but he said something that startled me, but it also encouraged me. And he said this. He said, One of the scariest things about Judgment Day is not just seeing the playback of your life and seeing all the bad things that you did or the embarrassments, but it's finding out about the you that you could have been. Let me say that again so you can marinate on this. The scariest thing about Judgment Day or whenever we finally meet the Father and find out, what the deal is with all of this, and then also looking back on our lives. He said the scariest thing about that day is finding out about the you could have been. Because we have free will. Do we not? And I don't, and this is gonna kind of, as I said, this is gonna kind of close it out. And I don't want to, on my last days on earth, realize the Christian Mosley I could have been, realizing I didn't give it my all, realizing I didn't give it my all in my career or in this show. Because I feel like I was led to kind of do this. Some of you guys have let me know that you enjoyed the show, that it's been giving you guys different things, whether it was humor, because, I'm hilarious. Maybe I said something that was mildly profound. Maybe I said something encouraging. Maybe I gave you a way to look at a particular subject from an angle you've never looked at it before. So, without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to give you too much, but I'll say this. Why am I saying we? You know what? I'm going to say we. You know why? Because you guys don't realize how much Shay has actually been a part of this show for about the past year. Even with some of the episodes I was putting out while we were dating, we've had a lot of very good, super deep conversations that have led to a lot of this. So when I say we, you know who I'm talking about. The woman that I'm one with now. That's how I got the beard. So we got a lot of great things coming out for you guys. I'm not going to give you too much, but just know that there is a lot of great things on the way and in the works. So please stay tuned. And I just want to say, for those of you guys that are still rocking with me, that are still watching the channel, I greatly appreciate it. No matter how many subscribers I have, each and every one of you are appreciated. I feel the support. I feel the love. And just make sure, the best way that you can support is just make sure if you like something, if I added some value to your day, or even to your mind, share it with somebody. Like the video. Maybe leave a comment. Just do one of those three things. It's really going to help me out and really going to help grow the platform for other people that I feel that could really benefit from watching the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you for coming back again to Areopagus. And we got a lot of other great things to talk about in the future. And until my next appearance on these interweb streets, pieces and blessings. I'm out.
The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.